Earlier today, we heard from Monique Moreau about the role that trust and security play in technology. One technology that is reinventing how we think about digital trust is blockchain. Blockchain, by its nature, is a driver of innovation. Since its inception, it has become a factor for change and adaptation for many industries and is giving us the opportunity to walk the path for a reinvention of global e-commerce and many other things. This new way of understanding the digital world requires reinvention. Our next guest speaker is Montse Guardia, General Manager at Alastria Blockchain Ecosystem, and prior to her current position, she was a director at Banco Sabadell, leading the specialized team in emerging technologies, where blockchain was one key element to developing new innovative products and services. She has also been involved in the implementation and delivery of information technology services for 4 Olympic Games, Pan American Games, and several World Championships, and a UN Summit. Today, alongside her work at Alastria, she also leads the first blockchain consortium that involves more than 400 members within the industry, public sector, and academia. Please welcome to the Converge Europe 2021 stage, Montse Guardia.
Thank you very much, James. I'm very pleased to join you and also really pleased to talk in this huge event. Globant is really seeking innovation, but seeking reinvention. No? And this is what we are going to talk about. It's true, no? I'm the general manager of Alastria. My last 5 years, I have been doing a deep research and working jointly with enterprises and academia and public administration and governments related this technology that is called blockchain. And blockchain, and this is what we are going to talk about, is a way to reinvent ourselves, to really seek for a reinvention that will be the global reinvention. And for me, and this is how always I like to start presentations, is to talk about one critical thing, is the 21st century. We are in the 21st century. It's now the 2021. We have been living 21 years after revolution of the web. No? We started the 2000s, and we started this year with this magic that was what was going on with the e-commerce and how we're doing purchases and exchanges and a lot of things on a web environment. No? But later on, we jumped to the mobile, and we were talking, yes, now it's mobile first. We were looking after, and we have been developing apps, and we have been working in large platforms, and we have been experimenting what that means telecommunicate, exchange lots of information with several around the globe. And this is about that. This is about thinking globally, because we have the net, we are able to telecommunicate within any place around the world, and that's really powerful. But in another sense, we have been doing that maybe in a way that we are not really conscious of the empowerment we can get with this digital world. And this is where we are right now. We are in an age of transition. We are doing a transition to a new way of living in the digital world. This digital world that day by day is getting us more and more present, any people, any population, but also somehow is delivering us a little bit in a situation of disadvantage. And that is something we wanted to talk about when we talk around what it is blockchain and what it is the decentralized technologies. Finally, if we think about what we can do with these new decentralized technologies, is a lot related to this reinvention of a new world. And why I'm saying that and why I think we need to talk and to think about it is because if we just stayed around innovation, around doing new things, we need to look after how we have been doing innovation lately. In the 80s, in 1986, we had these professors, no? We had these two ideas mainly, that we were talking with Rosenberg and Klein, that we had a way or two ways of doing innovation. One way was what we call the market pool. So we were looking, and we have been looking around the different markets, and somehow we have been identifying some needs that hasn't been addressed, and thanks to the opportunity that the digital technology, the opportunity to work on top the internet, we had delivered it through web portals, through mobile apps, and we have through wearables, and we have been covering somehow new ways of delivering business, no? And we talk about that like a way to do innovation by market pool. One example could be all these fantastic services around using rental apartments, holidays apartments. That was had been a new business, a new solutions, and all that has been developed over the latest 20 years has been always been done with one digital architecture. And this digital architecture is basically meaning I'm one person, one citizen, one company who is connected to internet through a portal, through a mobile, and that information, this data, is arriving to a central place. We don't see it, it's back office, and this central place is processing with some applications, large applications, and this process of this data is giving context and becoming information, is giving reference and becoming knowledge, and is giving finally information that could be pulled to wisdom. All that, we have been doing that in the digital world in a centralized way. That has been the architecture, but in 2009, it was a huge change. And that change was becoming because two reasons. One of the reasons was living in the world was becoming a little bit difficult for some people, thanks to some bad behaviors on the financial systems that were related to having financial system that didn't detect this bad behavior. And we had this crisis, a big economical crisis in 2009, and somehow had been at that moment some people were thinking, well, we have these information systems, we are working openly, we are doing open software, and we know a lot about technology, why we couldn't prevent that, and how we can do it to prevent it, And somehow it appeared the Bitcoin, And the thing about Bitcoin is not about Bitcoin as a value that we are exchanging, what we call the crypto, is more about how we do it, how it's done, what we call the algorithm of consents, and how is doing this information, how is sent to several points at the same time, to several decentralized elements of hardware at the same time. And this is about that. This is how we are changing the digital architecture that is centralized to something else, to a digital architecture that is decentralized. And that platforms and that software that are complex, and has been evolved in 2015, the way how have been done give us what we call the big opportunity to do innovation by technology push. And that's blockchain. The blocks, the blocks that are chained, one block who is protecting a data that is pseudo-anonymous and is in a decentralized, in some place of this mesh architecture, network architecture. So this block that later on is sequenced with other blocks, in what we call a blockchain, that information that is relevant for all the members of this decentralized network give us just a mechanism to create or to reinvent use cases, to reinvent a new way to interact with technology in all the globe. And that's about that, is thinking global, acting local. acting from your node, acting from your place in the network, and thinking about what we call decentralized applications. And that is something so enormous, so big, that we now are looking after these 5 years, no? Since 2015, we have been growing in public blockchains, permissioned blockchains, some private blockchains, different uses, different ways of scalability, but the most important thing is multi-segment. This is what we did in Alastria. Joined together since 2017 companies from completely different range of segments of industry and economy, different volumes, so small, medium, large companies, but also academia. We are still with a technology that needs to be more mature. We are maturing every day, and the important thing that this is driven by the open source community. What that means? That millions of programmers over the world are constructing and making that this technology gets better and better over time. And the business people or the functional people or any professional, we need to rethink and to be conscient that we need to seek reinvention of our way of doing business, our way of using internet in the benefit of getting more health, more wealth, and for sure, more democratization. All of us, we have the right to use internet for the benefit of our daily life. And what that means? That if we are nurses, or we are doctors, or we are anyone who is in the industry of the agriculture, and we are living in a very far away locations, we could get this connectivity and we could get this register in a blockchain, and we should be able to, if we want, to trace what are the goods that we are exchanging and get incentive for that. And that's a new way of thinking the world. And why is so important we understand that this is thinking globally is because the digital economy must be completely reinvent, but reinvent in a way that we learn the lessons. Reinvent because we know that we have centralized systems that are delivering us some goods, but we have this other technology that even is giving us like 4 main functionalities: registering, traceability, digital identity, and tokenization. The 4 of them, different ways of using it, the 4 of them very powerful. And we are at the very beginning of this reinvention. So thinking about registration, that's easy, that's for legal, that's for agriculture, that's for transportation, and that's also for somebody who wants to do traceability, also for energy and for health. We have been experimenting that. But let me talk a little bit about digital identity. So digital identity goes about how I'm onboarding in a digital market. So if I want to do e-commerce right now, what I have to do is to identify myself. I say, yes, this is Montse Guardia, and I'm being completely fragmented. It's Montse Guardia with this login, this password, with this biometrics if I want. But later on, the product, the product owner or the service owner does 2 things, needs to make sure, make authentication that I'm the one who is being identified. And the second thing is give me authorization to use the product or the service. You see, when you live in the current world, the physical world, and you go to shop, and you go to any place to shop, and you go to a bank, you identify yourself somehow or not. If I need to buy shoes, I don't need to tell to the shop, look, this is Montse Guardia who is coming here to buy shoes. I just say, I need these shoes, I need for this number, and I like these ones that I'm seeing here. Okay, and somehow if I establish a relationship with the shopper, I will tell somehow about me more. It's not needed that they knew more about me for just selling me a shoes. So that's the main purpose of refining or rethinking or reinventing the way how we are doing e-commerce. what is doing or how is being established, the standardization that we are seeking and looking after with the digital identity definition is to talk about what we call attributes. And attributes are related to my identity, and my identity will be completely liquid because I will tell to the shoes maker what is really needed for them to know. If I'm going to enroll in a gym in a digital way, I will give them, yes, I'm older, I have my majority of age to go to the gym, and I have been passing the medical check. I will not have to give them more information. They will just check with the medical center if they will ask with a smart contract if I have been passing or not the medical check. But that information still is kept by myself, this is sensible information, and I will myself with a contract with the medical center decide to whom this information can go in details. But the gym only needs to know from the medical center that I have passed this exam. So thinking about that, you see, thinking about the smart contracts, thinking about automatization of relationships, we are getting a much more efficient use of internet with the decentralized apps, and in the other side we are delivering or being more conscious of how we are using the digital world and what that means and with whom we are interacting and why we are interacting with them. It's true that still we need some years. It's true that we are at the beginning of we are understanding from the European Commission just last week, we had this new information about the review of the eIDAS regulation. We just learned some things. We are starting there, but the truth is that it's going fast, and more we have B2B using blockchain, and more we will have solutions B2C. And this is why now it's very interesting in this event to talk about reinvention and to think about why and how we want to reinvent ourselves. Let's use this new technology, let's converge this technology with AI, and with Internet of Things, and do a complete change of value in a different way. Let's rethink how we are doing decentralized applications, how we are doing application in this digital world, because we must transition to a world that is sustainable. We have 2030, this is an agenda, it's coming in 9 years, and we have 17 large objective that we should achieve somehow. And this is the reason why these new technologies are a huge tool of technological innovation. We are pushing from the technology to reinvent ourselves in terms of business, digital economy, and e-commerce. So, having said that, I thank you very much to be joining with you, and I encourage everyone to jump to the world of understanding a little bit more what that means, decentralized architectures and blockchain, and to join, not be alone. We are not doing that one by one. We are doing that in a net. We used to think that we can collaborate to do a better competition in terms of digital economy. So thank you very much for that, and looking after you join me on this series.
Thank you, Montse, for those insights into the world of blockchain.